Do you find that our evangelical, whatever that even means anymore, go to heaven when you die, better place, helps or hurts the process?
Man.
Or is it too not that simplistic?
It's maybe not that simplistic. I think probably within, for being specific, sort of like the white evangelical church, it often is not helpful.
Yeah.
Because the idea is like joy, 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 joy. If we ever go to church on Sunday, what are we listening to? Celebration music. You have no reason to be sad because it's time to rejoice.
Well, and death is a blip. It's where, it's...
Yeah.
As opposed to...
Or they're in a better place, or...
The grieving God who weeps at death, the difference doesn't exist.
It's totally missed out. It's almost like parts of the Bible have just been ripped out. Like, I love the idea, and you mentioned this with Lazarus this week. I love the idea that Jesus wept, knowing that he was going to resurrect Lazarus. Yeah. He already knew what he was going to do. He knew that Lazarus was going to be risen from the dead, so he knew that this wasn't the end for Lazarus. And yet he still took time to mourn Mary and Martha and to weep. And just the idea of that, like, so if Jesus knew that he was going to raise Lazarus, how for us can we know that we're going to see our family or loved ones again, but still make time now to mourn? And we just tend not to model that. We tend to, like you said, go to joy, 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 rejoice always.
And it's not a feigned mourning. Jesus isn't feigning the emotion. It's his, as you, I think, articulate. It's the most natural thing for him to do in the moment is to just be with his cousins and to see his best friend and grieve in this place. It's an incredible image. You said resurrection life itself, standing in a graveyard, mourning, knowing that he himself would be in the same state. But also mourning this, that there's more than utility to grief. It's part of being human. It's actually an essential aspect of what it means to be the image of God, to be a voice in a broken world that says this is not how it was meant to be. And to deny that actually denies something implicit in what the church is called to do. Because, if you've ever seen like older liturgies for, a funeral service or a memorial service, there really is, it's poems about the, death being nothing, just a moment. And it's like, that's not what we see in the New Testament. That's not the image of this God who weeps, who mourns, who grieves. And it's almost like we take death seriously at the cross, but we don't take it seriously any other time. And how do we relearn that? How do we honor? And I think part of it is the open-handedness, the control, I think. And the deaths of many types, the death of expectations, the death of a dream that we were so longed for. And COVID was the death in 1,000 ways. Yes, very serious and real deaths, but the death of the life that we expected, the wedding that never was, as you said, the father who couldn't be at the wedding. That's a death again. It's a death relived. And I think there is a tension because grief never heals, it just changes. Right, in some ways.
Well, that's why the language of closure
Yeah.
isn't helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Right? But
nothing closes off. You're right. Absolutely. I see what you're saying.
And it's not like it's a bleeding open wound all the time.
Yes.
It's just that there is a twinge every once in a while. Like I've December the 10th, every year, whether I'm aware of it or not, my body tells me this is the day your mom died.
Yeah.
And I will sometimes inadvertently go through part of the day and I just can't figure out why I'm down or why I'm sluggish or whatever. And then Jude reminds me, or my wife reminds me, this is the 10th. It's like, my soul is saying something happened on this day that was significant for us.
Yeah.
Don't pass over it. And it's not down in the dumps or whatever, but it is this moment that signals this is an ongoing thing, right? It's not close the door, move on. It's, no, this is part of the journey. that we're on.